Hello, Chicago sports fans. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Through the Garden. We are back to our recording format. Myself, Jordan, Mr. Pat. Hello.
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 Yes, we're going back to recording things, and then down the road, if live seems to be an option, we'll do that. But this is better for us because it should bring some more consistency as to when you can expect the podcast. We can take out all the stupid things we say, and
So then there wouldn't be a podcast.
Right.
Well, Jordan and I will still be around, but other than that, thank you everybody for listening. Before we get into anything, big shout out and thank you to Jacob for being on last week and keeping the show going. I do apologize for my absence. I will explain my absence. I was at rehearsal band practice for when I am going to be playing the drums at Cubby Bear on October 4th. So this broadcast is brought to you by me plugging myself. On October 4th, be at Cubby Bear to listen to me ruin every single one of your favorite songs.
Boy, it's going to be a long show if every single song is going to be ruined. Well, good luck with that.
I'm going to do my best. But we're back. I am here. We are here. We have so much to talk about tonight. We have a lot of things happening with the Chicago Bears. We have a couple of Cubs notes to get to and a fun exercise. The White Sox, if it stops raining, are going after a record as we record. The Blackhawks did some things today, and there's a move that the Chicago Bulls could make to bring us right back in. And then we got to wrap up with some wrestling. So we have a jam-packed show to get to tonight. We are so back as if we didn't even leave. But we have to start with the Chicago Bears and what they put us through on Sunday. And I want to get to a couple of things that you guys talked about last week that intertwine with this week. But Jordan, I will start with you. My God, what is happening?
Yeah, I picked a great season to become an editor for a Bears website. When we're talking about the same issues this team has had. Going on now, our entire, livelihoods. Sunday, there was good, there was bad, there was ugly. Unfortunately, when you have a bad offensive line, the ugly just outweighs everything else. And you have a offensive coordinator that's kind of out of his depths already. It's a problem. Still, what is the silver lining is despite the mess of Shane Waldron's play call and the offensive line, there's a lot of throws you can look from Sunday that Caleb made that you could be excited about what he's going to hit as he continues to calibrate what he can and can't get away with at that NFL level.
Yeah, I was enjoying seeing some of the mistakes that he was making on his own. I feel like that's how you grow as a quarterback. I have nothing bad to say about Caleb Williams because the things that we're seeing, like that first interception was garbage. A couple of the wide open throws he missed, garbage. But that's what you want to see in a rookie year. That is everything that we wanted to see when we were talking about after we drafted Caleb, going through this first season. Nobody was expecting perfection. Everybody was expecting some of these mistakes, and he's making them, and he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do as a rookie quarterback. The problem lies with he has no chance to try to make these mistakes. He's got to be a superhero already because as much as we talked about how complete this team was and how ready we were to compete, oh my God, why can we not have any help on the offensive line? How did this happen? How did this go so under our radar that we didn't see it coming? Oh my God. Alex, please help me.
Well, I was concerned about the line going into the season.
You did say that.
But I didn't think it was going to be this bad because I didn't think Tevin Jenkins was going to be playing this bad. I mean, we expected a lot of things from him, right? When he's healthy. When he's healthy, you expect a lot of things from Tevin Jenkins. And you can't really say anybody's exceeded or met expectations. I know Darnell Wright was a little better, but still. And I look at Sunday's game, and the worst part about Sunday's game was that you gave away the momentum every time you snatched it. You had the interception in the end zone from Tremaine Edmonds, and then Caleb Williams makes his best pass as a pro to Roma Dunze. All of a sudden, the things are going. And then probably the worst play of the game for Caleb Williams was that first pick. And that was just flat out rookie mistake,
Yeah,
ugly.
that was bad.
Yeah. And like you said, that's going to happen. But what really, really, really gets me, you can't run the ball at all. You can't run the ball. And I kind of talked down a little bit on Roschon Johnson, but early on, he was getting some chunk yards on those runs straight up the middle. And that's what teams have done to the Colts, is run straight up the middle.
The Packers gave us a blueprint of what to do.
Exactly. And then they stopped. They stopped going to Roschon Johnson. They went and tried to go with DeAndre Swift, who just couldn't go anywhere. DeAndre Swift couldn't go anywhere. I know there's a lot of people questioning that signing, and I do understand that part of it has to do with the line and run blocking and whatnot, but DeAndre Swift to me feels more like hey, let's run a screen pass with you. Let's dump it off short in the middle of the field. He's not going to pound it up the middle. He's not a power back. So if you want to try to pound the ball up the middle, try more Khalil Herbert, try more Roschon Johnson next week. And because you had the worst run defense in the NFL, you couldn't do anything against it. What happens when you can't establish a run? You are forced to pass. They passed, 52 times? Your rookie quarterback passed 52 times on the road against the worst run defense. You have trouble running play action because you can't establish a run. All those things matter. Things matter, and it was a mess.
Yeah, one of the problems was that whenever DeAndre Swift hit the field, they knew the ball was going to him. Did you notice that every time he was on the field, he got the ball? I am a casual football fan, and I noticed, DeAndre Swift's on the field, probably getting the ball. Whether it's a pass or a run or whatever, you're telling the defense exactly what you're going to do.
Right.
And we can get into the play calling and the coaching mistakes with this transition here because, man, 1st and goal on the 1-yard line. I don't care if DeAndre Swift's your back. I don't care who is your back. I don't care. 4 plays, 4 runs up the middle. And if you don't get it, hats off to the defense. But oh my God, how do you not score on 1st and goal from the 1-yard line?
Because
and that 4th down, the 4th down play made us look. That was the play. I was like, oh, we're still stupid. We are still stupid.
That lost us the game.
It was over then. It was terrible. That was such a Matt Nagy thing to do. That was such a Luke Getsy thing to do. And now Shane Waldron has lost all of my trust. 52 times they threw the ball against one of the worst running defenses. And the Packers, yes, they whooped up on the Titans this weekend. They are not world beaters. Why? We can't be crowning the Packers right now. They're not that good. They are just looking incredible because they're doing what they're supposed to against inferior opponents.
Because they have a great coach.
They have an excellent coach.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're calling timeouts on 2-point conversions and challenging plays that are just ridiculous.
Did you guys see the tweet I made after the game on Sunday regarding the coaching?
Yeah, I saw that.
I basically said, Tommy, in case you didn't see it,
please.
I said 3 of the 5 top NFL coaches might be in the NFC North. Unfortunately, none of them are in Chicago.
It's true. Matt Eberflus is an idiot.
And I would actually,
respectfully.
Yeah, I would actually, widen that gap. Is 3 of the top 5 coaches on the NFL, while the one who's not is probably in the bottom 5 of the NFL.
Yes,
bottom 3.
Yeah, bottom 3. Yeah.
He's a great defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He is not a head coach.
Yeah, he's fine at the defensive coordinating. I wish he was just our DC and we had a real head coach. I'd be fine with that.
And I was thinking through too, as he sits as our head coach, I was thinking through all the people that the Bears could have hired as their head coach that are now head coaches and crushing it. And it's just,
Well,
man,
I mean, it's not even head coach. I mean, we all watched, the Commandos and Bengals game last night. Who was the offensive coordinator for the Commandos? Cliff Kingsbury. When I posted a picture of Caleb Williams in his USC jersey in Kingsbury last season when they were with USC, people were like, "Oh, there's no way the Bears were going to hire him as a head coach." We saw that experiment as Arizona. I wasn't even talking about as a head coach. I was talking about as an
OC.
offensive
As an
coordinator.
OC. Yeah, right.
It would have
If
been so much different because they know each other.
And I mean, granted, it's hindsight, but if you truly want to say that the Bears put Williams in the best position to succeed, why not when you talked to Cliff Kingsbury last January, which now just seems like a fact finding mission for you to get information on Caleb Williams, and it wasn't an actual interview for the OC job? Why didn't you put any stock into him as a candidate? And say what you will. I mean, Daniel, what he did last night was great. I don't think that's a mile marker for the quarterback conversation. I do think it's a mile marker for the offensive coordinator conversation, because if you
Sure.
look what Kingsbury has done last week and this week, he's putting Daniels in plays that fit his strengths, plays to are easy for him to make reads. It's one, if you don't see it, then you take off, or you just go to your check down option right away.
Yeah,
And
he's treating him like a rookie quarterback.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. There was somebody who we're going to talk about later in the show here, who was on the radio today and basically said that nothing is going to change until the McCaskies are out of power.
That's what I've wanted to
And
say
he's
on the
absolutely
One of
right.
us.
But there's really only one way that happens, and it's morbid.
Yeah.
So I can't root for it.
Nah.
show. Yeah, I know. It's tough, but I don't care what anybody says. I still think the Matt Eberflus hire had Georgia's grubby hands all over it. He went to Matt Eberflus
I
and
think
said,
so.
"Here are the guys you can hire."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think so. But I mean, even then, who was the other finalist? Dan Quinn. And he seems to have that culture turned around for the Commandos.
Yes,
Yeah.
an experienced coach who, listen, you can look at coaches like that and debate strategy all day. If they have the right coordinators, you at least know that that's a head coach that
Yep.
is structurally sound,
Yeah.
fundamentally sound. They know when to call timeouts and manage clocks.
Yeah.
Second time head coaches. I'm like, there's something about that because Dan Quinn, he took the Falcons to the Super Bowl. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, he
And
did.
then he went over and DC'd in Dallas for a little while. Now, of course, head coach in Washington. But
Yep.
think about something else. Cliff Kingsbury was a head coach in Arizona. Sure, it didn't work out so great, but he was still a head coach in the league. Probably knows a thing or two. Then went to USC for a while, and now he's back in the league. And he knows how to work a rookie quarterback who's transitioning from a college game that he just was a head coach in to an NFL game where he was a head coach in. I don't know.
And I'll tell you this
Yeah.
right now.
And I don't know what he does on his off days, but I'm sure that's what the breaking point was for the McCaskies.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If Matt Eberflus doesn't turn this around, let's hope he does. We are rooting for him to turn this around. But if he doesn't, and if he's gone this year, he is never getting a head coaching gig again in the NFL.
If this fails again, who's to say Caleb Williams says, "No, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be another failed Bears quarterback. I'm not going to be another problem where I get drafted and then there's a new head coach a year after, and then you guys are drafting a new quarterback because the coach didn't want me or didn't work me the correct ways or anything like that." Because guess what? Caleb Williams is the third time in a row right now. If things go bad and they do fire Eberflus at the end of the year, this is the third time in a row. Draft quarterback, fire coach the next year, end up drafting another quarterback, fire coach the next year, end up drafting a new quarterback, fire coach next year. That would be the trifecta. And that would be just the biggest amount of done for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to, you know, hypothesize anything about Caleb Williams wanting out. I mean, it's fair to suggest that for sure. But I think the person who Caleb Williams has been with the Bears kind of dispels the person that he was thought of when he was at USC. Meaning, I don't think Caleb has this whole the brand is bigger than the team, and I do think that if it's in a position where Eberflus is fired at the end of the season, I don't think that's going to be a big impact on Williams. Be like, oh nope, I've seen this record before. I'm getting off.
I guess what I'm saying is if he did it, I wouldn't blame him. And I wouldn't be mad at him.
Maybe. I mean, yeah. Maybe. I don't know. It just seems out there.
Because
No,
I mean that's what
get
the
where you're
narrative
coming
is going to be. If the Bears fire Eberflus and this is a wasted year, we were already fighting the narrative of like the Bears are going to ruin Caleb Williams. It's just what they do. It's just how they function. If this year ends up with Matt Eberflus being fired, the Dan Orlovskis, Stephen A. Smiths, the cowards, like they're gonna go nuts. They're gonna have a field day with.
Of course.
Told you the Bears stink. You got to get out of there.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the nature of their show is to have hot takes. After all, it was Coward who said Caleb didn't want to come to Chicago.
Sure.
Fast forward, he's in Chicago. So, yeah, there will be grandiose headlines at the end of the season of, oh, Caleb Williams has to go out. Hell,
there's headlines now. It's week 3.
Yeah. All being said, none of this is Caleb's fault. Caleb is just a rookie quarterback doing rookie quarterback things. And if you're mad at him, you're not watching.
Well,
yeah,
if you're
Caleb's
mad at
not
him,
the one I'm worried about here.
Well,
No.
if you're mad at him, you're watching the Bears jersey. You're watching the Bears game in a Justin Fields Steelers jersey. Because at this point, any of the criticism on Williams is mainly from fans who are not actually watching the Steelers game. They just see, oh wow, you see Justin Fields is 3-0 with
3-0.
Steelers. To Fields' credit, he actually did show some improvement in strengths this past Sunday.
He had a pretty good game.
But I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh man, this is what you had. When if you look at Caleb from week 1 to week 2, there was growth. If you would look at Caleb from week 2 to week 3, there was growth. There was growth at a more accelerated rate in those 3 games than we've seen from Justin Fields in 3 years.
Yeah, and I would like to see the numbers too of what Caleb's numbers would be just on the plays where the offensive line didn't completely leave him out to dry, because it's probably electric.
And we know for a fact that he should have 2 more touchdowns. The Keenan Allen drop in the first game, and then the one that went through Roma Dunze's hands last week. I mean,
right. And here's another thing too I want to say about Eberflus is even if things stabilize and the Bears turn it around and things are going okay, because they could, right now obviously it's week to week, and when things go bad, I always end up, feeling overly bad. But
we all do,
yeah. But like even if Eberflus kind of gets things stabilized here, it's still just such an insane gap between your head coach and Green Bay's head coach and Minnesota's head coach and Detroit's head coach. The gap is so huge. And yes, you know what? To Matt Eberflus's credit, he coached pretty damn well last year against Detroit. He did. He schemed that defense very, very well to beat Jared
he's
Goff.
incredible with the defense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the problem is Matt LaFleur coached circles around you. And the only reason you beat the Vikings last year is because you were facing Josh Dobbs, and you had to squeak a 12-10 win out to get that win. Because the coaching out there in Minnesota, that's some scary good coaching they have.
Yeah, that coaching has them 3-0 right now.
Yeah. And not only 3-0, they're dominating.
We
dominating.
looked like idiots against the Texans, and they just took them to the woodshed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now we walk into week 4, 1-2, at home against the Rams. A Rams team that is probably pissed. Or I'm sorry, probably not pissed is what I meant to say, is because they just won an electric game at home, came back and beat the 49ers. Like they had a 14-point deficit at one point, and then they were down 10 with like 4 to go or something like that.
Mhm.
Came back and won the game. They're feeling electric. I meant to say the Niners are pissed. Sorry about that. But the point is, they have a team that's coming in that's feeling themselves a lot, and they're in the locker room going like, what the heck is happening? This is on the verge of being, I am not pushing the panic button by any means yet, because rookie quarterback, 3 games in, we got some time to figure this out, and the defense still looks really good. But you fall to 1-3,
Yeah.
and then not good.
No, for sure.
Not good.
No. Well, this game's interesting because you are at home and you do seem to play better at home based on going to mid last year. Granted, the opponents that they played at home, though, like I said, the game against the Lions at home, that was probably one of their best games last year.
Yeah.
And the Rams are very banged up. But I'm going to go back to the topic that we have been talking about this whole show. Who would you rather have as your coach? Matt
Right.
Eberflus or Sean McVay?
I
Sean
mean,
McVay's one of the best.
Well,
Yeah.
it was the fake punt on Sunday in Los
Mhm.
Angeles. That was just, I mean, him calling it first off, ballsy. But then the team executing it, that changed the whole narrative of the game. That was like that was the Rams saying, "Hey, we're not going to lose this one. Thanks, coach. We got your back."
Yeah.
Now we have a head coach that calls a timeout on a 2-point conversion and then calls the worst play of all time, second worst play of all time,
You're
behind the
dropping back
4th and
on
1 at the
you're
goal
dropping
line.
back at a 2-point conversion. I will never
Yeah.
understand why you would drop back on a 2-point conversion.
It's mind-boggling that just
throw a slant.
I'm at a loss, and I feel bad for Caleb because no offensive line. What are the rules for offensive line? Step 1, be fat. Step 2, get in the way. That's all I need. Just do those 2 things and we'll figure out the rest.
They're either a turnstile or they're on the ground. I mean,
that picture of them on the ground.
Yeah,
is tough.
on that speed option, right. So I think this game against the Rams, you got to get a run game going early on offensively. And defensively, you got to take away their run game, and then you got to get pressure on Matt Stafford. That's how you win.
Chase Matt Stafford around. Get in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be, I hate to say it, it's going to be one of those games like the Titans where you're going to lean on your defense. Having said that, there will be openings for Caleb to continue that growth. I think we do see it. But to Alex's point, McVay is one of the top 5 coaches, if not honorable mention, and that could be the difference.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Bears story. Do you want to do predictions of the game? Anybody want to throw a prediction out there? I'm gonna say the Bears somehow win like 13-10 or something like that.
I'm gonna say 21-17.
I'm going to say 24-18 Bears win.
Everybody on the Bears?
Yep.
God
as
bless us.
surprising as it sounds, I feel like as much as I hate this coaching, I really feel like this team is going to come and try not to go 1-3 at home.
Yeah.
If this was in Los Angeles, I'd probably be singing a different tune.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. One real quick thing about football before we transition into baseball here. I am in a survivor league with my wife's family, and there was only 5 of us, or there was more of us, but you can, in this league, you pay $5 to get in. And then if you lose in the first 4 weeks, then you can pay $10 to get back in. And so I was, in week 3, I went 2-0. Over half the league got wiped out, but some of them bought back in. Well, everybody got wiped out this week, except there was one guy who, if the 49ers won, he won Survivor. But if they lost, 5 of us, including me, would get to go back in. And we
Mm.
got that text when they were down 14. And I was like, well, screw it. And so then I was driving down the band practice, and when I got there, I looked at my phone. I had like 34 unread text messages. And I'm looking, and they're like, "Oh my god, they did it! They did it!" I'm like, "No way!" So now there's
Thought they
5 of
were
us
messing
left.
with you.
Yeah, so now there's 5 of us left in Survivor. So shout out the Rams. Thank you so much,
There you
but that's
go.
enough of that, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of coaching that is inferior to the rest of their division, let's talk about the Chicago Cubs. What? Look. Actually, I don't want to start. Alex, talk to me about the Cubs.
Talk to you about the Cubs. Okay. Well, over the last week or so, we've heard some very interesting comments from our manager and one of our pitchers, basically saying that what
Yes,
we
sir.
need is to have higher standards and we need to win 90 plus games. And you know what? Craig Counsell sounded sincere. Like he sounded
He's
legitimately
pissed, man.
He's
He
pissed.
is
Oh, yeah.
pissed.
His expectations are up here. And what Jed Hoyer needs to realize is when you pay a guy that money, you better play to that guy's expectations and you better listen to that guy too, Jed. You can't be going out there and saying, well, the Diamondbacks last year. No.
I hope
You
all
go-
of you are on YouTube and
That
watching
was
this.
great.
I hope you're
That
not
was
listening
great.
to it because I need you to
Yeah.
I need you to stop it right now. Well, no, listen to the rest of the episode, but then I
Yeah.
need you to go to YouTube
Go to the YouTube
and watch
find it.
Alex's face.
That was great.
Because oh my god.
That was pretty much the perfect image of everyone when they heard
It's
Jed say
true
that.
it's true. It's true, Alex, and you're so right. And Craig was so right. And I want to let you finish your thought before I go on.
Sure, but the fact that Craig Counsell said that publicly in a lot of emotion, that tells me that he is saying, listen, our standards need to be higher. I would like to be a part of this. You paid me the money, so take my advice. He's been part of how many playoff teams in Milwaukee?
Millions.
6, 5, 6,
A lot.
18, 19, 20,
My entire
21,
life.
23. So he knows, and he's been on multiple World Series winning teams as a player.
Mhm.
The guy knows what winning is. He is a winner, and he did not come here to have a ceiling of an 85 win team just to get into the playoffs. Jed,
Yep.
listen, you are a big market GM. The target should not be good enough. The target should be best. And you know what? I give Jed credit on a lot of good moves that he's made. I don't think he is the worst GM out there like many people do. I think he's done a lot of things well. But when you set your standards where they are, and when you clearly send that message that you are thinking about teams like the Diamondbacks and the Rays, guess what? That's not going to fly if you're not getting results. If you are not reaching for the stars like you should, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. You're in a bit of a conundrum. I understand you're not going to get Juan Soto. I understand Shohei Ohtani was not a possibility. I can't blame him for that. I commend him on a lot of the moves he made. But clearly, you could have done more. You could have been more creative. There are several areas where you could have bulletproofed cough the bullpen, and you chose not to because you looked at the outlying numbers and say, we're just going to hope best case scenario happens. You can't do that. You just can't. It's good. It's not good enough. Not good enough is not going to fly here.
So a few different things. By the way, 10 out of 10 rant right there.
Thank you. Thank you. I
That's,
wanted to
good.
keep it emotional, but also civil.
Yeah.
Because
No,
I didn't
really
want to
good.
go off the rails thinking like this was a 100 loss team and Jed is the worst because he's really not. Again,
No,
not good enough.
Right.
Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, you did great. And I'm just going to basically echo what you said. Much like Jameson Tyone echoed what Craig Counsell had to say. Jameson Tyone said, yeah, the floor of the Chicago Cubs should always be 90 wins because you are the
Correct.
Chicago Cubs.
Mhm.
And I loved what he said. He said that teams are coming to Wrigley and being excited about that road trip. And he wants that he wants that absolutely done. He wants guys to be like, well, crap, I have to go to Wrigley. And that's how it should be because we are putting 34, 35,000 fans in there consistently always behind our team's back. There is no excuse for the Chicago Cubs to be trying to keep up with the Milwaukee Brewers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, because those are small market teams. Those are teams that have to build through their farm system and have what they have for the little amount of time that they're granted that permission, basically. If Jed Hoyer was as good at his job as he thought he was, we would have that, not superstar power, but we'd have that prospect power that we're seeing, like the Baltimore Orioles with all of their kids that came up at the same time and won them a division. And the Diamondbacks coming out of absolutely nowhere to make it to the World Series last year. We would be seeing that, and then add in that you are a big market team, so you can A, keep these guys around for a long time, or B, pay whatever it takes to go get the 3 or 4 pieces that you need to make this a complete team. And he is doing neither of those things. And we are still fooling ourselves, and Jed is fooling himself to think that he is in the same league as the New York Yankees, as the Los Angeles Dodgers, as the Philadelphia Phillies, and as these Arizona Diamondbacks and the teams like that. So what I'm saying is, thank you, Jed, for Shota Imanaga. Thank you for Michael Busch. Great move trading Javi to get PCA.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else makes you dead to me. And I hate that I just went on a podcast also that I'll put on my socials, that the question was, what do you think? This is not a thumbs up situation.
Thumbs up.
This is a thumb. Can it, whatever. All right. Anyways. Where was I?
You lost your train of thought.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. But I was just on a podcast, and he asked, "What do you expect the Cubs to do for 2025?" And I said, absolutely nothing, because Jed believes way too much in his guys, and he's not going to get the superstar. The biggest thing we're going to see is him give a prove-it deal to Walker Buehler for $8 million or $10 million or something like that. And it's either going to work or it's not. And then everybody, again, is going to have the best year of their career for this Cubs team to play up to the standards that they're supposed to be at. And it's just frustrating because there's not a superstar that's walking through the front door. The prospect help is incredible. I mean, Matt Shaw just got MVP for the league in AAA. Owen Casey is every bit of a promise that is going to be awesome. Moises Ballesteros is on the way. There are pieces, but you can't count on those pieces to be had. You have to do something. You have to go get somebody and do something. And I have no confidence that the Cubs are going to do it.
Tommy, you mentioned that the Baltimore Orioles have the prospects that come up and succeed right away. One of the main reasons why they're succeeding. I would push back a little bit. I do think the Cubs have those type of prospects in their system, not to the absolute ceiling that some of the Orioles prospects have, but they have good prospects.
That's fine.
What I would join in on saying why the Cubs won't be the Orioles, why the Cubs won't be the Diamondbacks, why the Cubs won't even be the Brewers is, let's look at Owen Casey, for example. Where did he begin the season?
AA.
Where was he 2 months into the season?
AA.
AAA.
He was in AAA. Okay, sorry.
Where did he finish the season?
AAA.
Let's look at Moises Ballesteros. He got to AAA, what, about July?
Yeah, and he started in Single A, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he start the year in Single A?
Single A, one of the hottest hitting prospects in the Cubs system, right?
Yep.
Let's look at Matt Shaw. He was in AAA by July.
The whole, yeah.
Why is it then you had all these prospects who by July were either at AAA or knocking on the door to AAA? Why isn't it that we didn't see a single one of them at the major league level? And
I really think you weren't getting them at bats.
No, here's the thing.
Go off, Jordan. There
was absolutely no one that deserved to be in the starting lineup in May, June, and all of July. So this whole they weren't getting at bats. Who the hell wants to see Patrick Wisdom get at bats? Who wants to see Mike Tauchman get at bats? What we had at the major league level wasn't working. They're afraid to play the prospects. You want to know how I know that? Alexander Canario only has 45 plate appearances over the past 2 seasons when he's flashed nothing but power. What do you need? Power. But you're afraid to play your prospects. I mean, it's one of the things that make me seriously question what the hell is going on when Hoyer talks. So we mentioned Craig Counsell. We mentioned Jamison Tyon talking about what the bar is. Well, we all know Jed met with the media. One of the things he said yesterday, all of us, from me down on, we have to look at, see what gone right, see what. Oh, now my computer craps out. It hold me ranting. But all of us, we have to look at what we need to do this offseason and going forward to get to that place consistently. It's not about doing it once. It's about getting to a place where we feel we can do it consistently. So let me ask you guys this. 2015 to 2017, when the Cubs were arguably spending at the top of free agency, where did they finish at the end of the 2015 season?
They were a wild card team and lost to the Mets in the championship series.
Where did they finish at the end of 2016?
Best team in the majors.
Where did they finish at the end of 2017?
Won the division. I don't think won 100, but definitely won the division.
They lost in the National League Championship Series. So you have 3 years where you were spending and you finished the season no less than a National League Championship appearance. Correct. So, Jed, your whole idea about spending isn't the best way to do it consistently. Your own model proves you wrong, because the Cubs were a consistent threat when they were spending. The only thing you did wrong, the reason why that rebuild failed, was because you did not have the farm system to supplement the roster. Now you have the farm system to supplement the roster, but you're not actually adding superstar pieces to the roster. And that's my biggest hesitation when we get to the Cubs going to the offseason, because like you said, Tommy, we're going to be looking for cast-offs. We're going to be looking to get lucky on a Michael Busch trade once again. And we got lucky once. It's hard to get lucky twice. So, no, yeah. Everything about Jed Hoyer is just irritating right now.
Everything. Every single thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it shows no sign of stopping. We're going into 2025. It's the last year of his contract. He's doing exactly what Tom wants him to do, filling the seats and kind of being in contention, kind of not. Like, this is exactly where he wants to be. So, and we're just going to suffer for it. And I don't know if I got the rant about this or not. I think I did, but we're hiking up season ticket prices for 2 less games. Somebody help me out with that one. I'm getting 2 less games in my season ticket package, but I have to pay more money for the games that I can't go to on the other side of the planet.
They need to add an extra Cabarita drink to the concession stand.
You know what? I deserve a beer a game from these guys. And I already do. I do sign up to be the designated driver to get a free pop every game, because I just want to stiff them, because I want to stiff them for something.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I take that. I like a nice fountain soft drink at a ball game.
And I signed the thing and I walk. So I'm not even driving. So I can still get a beer and keep my oath. Damn it.
And you can walk off those calories you have from the sugary soda.
Yeah.
And yep, that's exactly right. Thank you for noticing my girl's figure.
Of course.
Yeah, this team's frustrating, and
it is.
I think they have an opportunity to say, you know what, we can do this. We'll do it. I don't want to hear excuses about the money or anything or where we're going to put people. I'm going to say on this podcast, if they wanted to go get Corbin Burns, they could go get Corbin Burns. Mm-hmm. If they wanted to go be in contention for Juan Soto, which I don't think Juan Soto is leaving New York. But
yeah,
if they
I don't think he is.
If Juan Soto had an open mind of where he wanted to go, the Cubs could go get Juan Soto. And I'd even say that the Cubs could get both Juan Soto and Corbin Burns. The money is there. Do not fool anybody. Do not say, well, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to watch this. Smart spending, smart spending. There's no such thing as smart spending in Chicago. I don't care if we're talking about politics or sports. There is no such thing. He is not spending smart. He is a moron. and I'm done with it, and I'm over it.
Yep.
Which brings us to our exercise.
Hell yeah. I'm so excited about this.
So, fully expecting that the Cubs are going to do absolutely nothing, which they will do something. There's going to be a trade or something that happens. The Cubs are not going to do what we would like them to do. Let's say that. They will do something. It's just not going to be what we want them to do. We did a fun exercise where each of us put together a starting lineup for opening day 2025 with the rule that everybody has to be in the Chicago Cubs organization right now, and assuming Cody Bellinger opts into his contract. Those are the rules. Who wants to go first?
Let's start it off.
All right, Jordan.
So let's start with the lineup. Batting leadoff is Pete Crow Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy, you're one of the first people, I think, towards the end of July that was on this movement. I wasn't there yet. I think I'm there now. I think he's shown enough growth to hand that opportunity over to him. Coming in behind PCA is Ian Happ in left field. There's very little that needs to be said about Ian Happ. He's having a career year. If you look at home runs and RBIs, he's really becoming a consistent player at the top of the lineup. This is where things get interesting, but it will make sense as we get down. Hitting third is Cody Bellinger at first base. If he's opting in, you have to find a spot to play him. He's not going to be a DH, either right field or first base. For this exercise, he's going to play first base. It would make sense in a bet. The cleanup hitter is going to be Seiya Suzuki. Again, and I hate that we're falling for this second half trap again, but he's been one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Kyle Schwarber just hit another home run.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought it was something new, not something we see every day.
Sorry, this is coming out on Thursday. Go on.
Cleanup, Seiya Suzuki. He's actually been one of the league's best hitters since he's become a permanent DH.
Sure.
Yeah, very little to be said. Batting fifth, playing a new position. This is why I hated this exercise, because I hated moving him to a new position, because in his current position, I think he's going to be a Gold Glove if he stays there. But for the purpose of this exercise, batting fifth, playing third base is Michael Busch.
Okay.
I hated to do it. I wish there was a way that I could have kept him at first base, but given the needs along the roster, given the needs that this team needs, and we can't make any external moves, I had to move him to third base, batting fifth. At six, it's catcher, Moises Ballesteros. Again, it just stems from what you need. He can fill that need in terms of being a hitting catcher. He has the pop. He should get an opportunity to be the catcher. Batting seventh, this is kind of where we get into why Cody is at first base. Batting seventh is my right fielder, Owen Casey. I think in the second half of the season, he's shown enough to give him that opportunity on opening day next season. Batting eighth is Dansby Swanson. Very little to that reason other than he's not really here for his offense anymore. And then rounding out the lineup is Nico at second. Nothing against his offensive skills, but he just kind of gives you that second leadoff man at the bottom of the lineup.
All right. So run it through one more time again.
So PCA in center, Ian Happ in left, Cody Bellinger at first base, Seiya as a DH, Michael Busch as your third baseman, Moises Ballesteros, your catcher, Owen Casey, your right fielder, Dansby Swanson, your shortstop, and Nico, your second baseman.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm surprised after you moved Michael Busch that Nico is still in this lineup. I'm going to be honest with you.
Honestly, he was between him and Paredes. I was debating which one I was going to keep in the lineup. I think people kind of crap on Nico this year, not realizing that he played a couple months with a broken hand. I think he'll be fine. I don't want to move him. That's why he got the benefit of the doubt of remaining in the lineup.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Alex, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
I'll go. Mine's not as creative. It kind of feels a bit more status quo, but I'll share it anyway. Leading off, still Ian Happ. I just think that he's been such a good leadoff hitter. You don't mess with
Yep.
what's been working right off the bat. Batting second, Michael Busch still over there at first base. Batting third, Cody Bellinger, starting right fielder. If he's going to opt in, you're paying him to be out there. I mean, you
Yep.
just are. Batting fourth, Seiya Suzuki. Batting fifth, Matt Shaw, third base. Batting sixth, Dansby Swanson, shortstop. Batting seventh, I'm going to put PCA, have a Speedster down there, lower the order. Then you're going to have, let's see. I'm just trying to remember who I'm going through. Then Nico Horner. Because they like run prevention, they like defense. And then catcher, Miguel Amaya. If it's going to be Justin Steele opening day, you start Miguel Amaya, who's worked with Justin Steele. And this is the assumption that you're keeping Nico Horner and Miguel Amaya, two guys I'm not sure they will.
Right.
But if we're just doing this exercise the way it is right now, I'm kind of just keeping it almost status quo with the addition of Matt Shaw because it just kind of fits the bill, I guess. I don't think that obviously they're going to make moves. This is going to look very, very different. But if you go based on what Craig Counsell's put together, because I do think Craig Counsell is pretty good at putting lineups together. One thing that we've harped on over Joe Madden the final years and David Ross was lineups. The one thing about Craig Counsell is I don't see the complaining about the lineups that we did. And I think that if you kind of keep that similar structure with what you have, because if you look at Owen Casey and you look at Moises Ballesteros, I'm not saying they wouldn't be on the opening day roster, but for opening day is opening day, and that's typically when the experience gets the benefit of the doubt, unless the position doesn't have a benefit of the doubt. So if you were to move on from Isaac Paredes for Matt Shaw, then yes, you would put in Matt Shaw. But if you're looking at right field and you keep Cody Bellinger, it would feel more fitting that they would stick with Cody Bellinger on opening day over an Owen Casey. That's just my thinking behind it.
For sure.
So mine is less fun also. Not super creative, just kind of how I feel about things going into opening day. PCA leading off center field. I've been on that train for a very long time now. I feel like that's where he belongs. When this season felt lost earlier in the year, I was like, just throw him up there and let's see it, because that's where we need him to be next year. No disrespect to Ian Happ. He's been incredible as a leadoff guy, but I would like his numbers lower in the lineup. Second, I put Seiya at second. He's got a high OPS, and he gets a bad rep, I think, for some of his strikeouts being super ugly. But if you dive deep into his numbers, he is one of the most prolific offensive attacks for the Cubs. I put him at second solely because of those very deep dive numbers. And I believe with him as a DH, where he can just focus on being a hitter and not so much on the field anymore, I think he could really develop his craft and actually become one of the guys that is nationally recognized as a really good offensive threat. So, Seiya number 2. Put Ian Happ at number 3, self-explanatory, top 5 left fielder offensively in the league. Batting fourth, I am riding the wave of Michael Busch. I think 4 is a good spot for him if he's on. We see how he kind of goes through his ebbs and flows of figuring things out and then having to go through a period of an adjustment. And we can complain about it all we want, but that's baseball, baby. Like he's going to, that's what baseball
100%.
is. And he has proven that twice now that he can go on a long streak of kind of not being able to get it right and figure it out and then go off. So I'm trusting that in the 4 spot. 5th, I put Dansby. I didn't super know where to put Dansby, I'm going to be honest with you. But we get those flares of like just doubles in the gap, and he does have some wheels to him too. So I put him at 5th.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
Sixth, I put Cody. I feel like this is kind of low for him in the lineup, but it is what it is, you know? He was just fine this year. He wasn't anything special. He wasn't anything terrible. He was fine.
Yeah, no.
He's a six.
Especially without without the pop, 6 is a great spot.
Yeah, six is a spot for him because he's the guy that can put a double down the line, you know? Kind of
Yep.
pull one.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like it.
7, I put Nico. Nico is another guy that could be a leadoff guy, and he's proven that before. I feel like after he broke his hand, he kind of lost the privilege of being the leadoff guy, but I really liked him as a leadoff guy, and I think that having somebody like him at the bottom of the lineup will really help. 8th, I've been on this guy for a very long time. I've wanted to see him in a Cub uniform for a very long time. I think we will on opening day. I think he will be at third base, and that is your MVP of the AAA league is Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw is going to be my third baseman batting 8th. I expect his power numbers to be too much to keep him in the 8th spot. At some point, he will be moving up in the lineup. You will know Matt Shaw's name. He will be one of the guys where we're talking about in 5 or 6 years. Like, I hope we keep him for forever.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, he was the league player of the year, as you mentioned, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Pretty.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is he got off to a really slow start, but if you look at his numbers cumulatively between double A and triple A from like June 1st on, I mean, they're elite. They're elite
Yeah.
numbers.
And
Very
I don't know
good.
if you saw in the season finale on Sunday his incredible play at third base where he jumped into
I
the
did.
net.
I did.
I did.
Yep.
The defense is there. We have not had a good defensive third baseman in a very long time. Why don't we have one right now? Let's put Matt Shaw in there. And then batting 9th at the catcher. I'm going to be honest. I put Ballesteros down there, but if it's a Maya, I don't super care. You're the 9th batter. You're the catcher. Just be a good catcher. That's all I
My
care
big
about.
question with Ballesteros that I just don't know because I haven't seen enough tape. What is he like defensively? What is he like framing?
I haven't seen
he's
enough.
raw.
We don't.
He's been playing a lot of first base.
Yeah,
Right.
So yeah, one of the plans this offseason is for him to kind of get more work as a catcher. I mean, I don't think there's a scenario where he should be the opening day catcher next year if there is
No.
one trouble.
This is me hoping that he bats like 680 in spring.
Yeah.
And they have no choice, you know?
Right, yeah. But for the purpose of this exercise and for the purpose of addressing needs, it was easy to put him at catcher.
Yeah. So I went PCA, Seiya, Ian Happ, Michael Bush, Dansby, Cody, Nico, Matt Shaw, and Moises Ballesteros. That is my starting 9. I don't care who's on the mound. I'm sad boy winter. Sad boy winter, boys.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm glad winter's coming because like, there's only so much we can say about the 2024 Cubs.
Yeah. So we'll save the rest for next week. But a couple things before we end this, because we do have a couple things to get to. First off, the Sox are going for the record tonight. By the time this goes out, they might have the record. They probably will have the record. So let's pretend that the Sox have broken the record. The White Sox are the worst franchise in sports. They're terrible.
Yeah, you read that Athletic article?
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah.
I haven't read the whole thing. I just read the snippets of it.
And there's another one coming from ESPN this week. Everyone's getting those shots, and it's so bad.
Yeah. I mean,
bad.
it's bad. It's bad. It's embarrassing, honestly.
And it's crazy because like I like how like Jeff Passan did his piece, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, that's not too bad." And then the Athletic came out, I was like, "No, it's awful."
Bad. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, man. It is so bad, and I feel bad for some White Sox fans. I'll say that. There are some White Sox fans out there that I feel bad for.
I got a lot of friends and family that are, so I do feel for them.
My dad.
There are some that I definitely don't, and there are some that I do feel bad for.
No, my dad isn't one of them, Larry. If you're listening to this, you are not one of them. This is for all those calls that I got when those Sox were rebuilt. They're like, "Oh, we're on our way. Your Cubs are going down." So no, little father-son rivalry. No,
I
I will agree with that, quite honestly. Okay.
Call your dad by your first name on the show?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
I don't,
funny.
I don't think he listens. I don't think he knows I have a podcast. So
That's
Oh,
funny.
unless I find
that's
out
fair.
tomorrow,
I feel
I'll
like
probably find out.
that's
You're gonna get an angry text or a call.
Right.
Son, how
I
could
feel
you
like
say
I
that?
feel like that's
Right.
my dad too. You're
Right.
like, hey, I'm doing a podcast. He's like, you're doing a what now? I'm like, "You could
Right,
just go
exactly.
just go back on the golf course.
Right.
All right. Well, two more Chicago things, and then we got to talk wrestling, and then we'll get
We
out of
have
here.
to.
Jordan, you
Yes.
sent this to the group.
I did because it has to happen. If anyone was paying attention to Shams, by the way,
Free agent.
Shams. Well, before we dive into that, Shams won the war with Woj. Woj is no longer reporting. He's off being some director at a college. Shams is now the guy in the NBA.
Shout out
But
Shams.
if you're following him on Twitter, he broke the news yesterday that Derrick Rose asked to be bought out of his contract with the Memphis Grizzlies. The fact that he asked to be bought out is a suggestion that he still wants to play, maybe just not with the Grizzlies. I think they're going to more of a younger guard formation. But like I mentioned to you guys, I wasn't planning on watching Moneyball's games this winter, but if you know how I will, if Derrick Rose signs, because undoubtedly I will be watching every single game just to see if he's ever in the starting lineup, and I could hear number one from Chicago, Derrick Rose. I mean, it's a homecoming we need. It's a homecoming we need.
I will immediately buy me a jersey. Are you hearing me, Jerry Reinsdorf? You want some money? Put Derrick Rose on the team. I will immediately buy a jersey, and I will immediately be at the first game I can go to.
Yeah, and if you're the front office, Derrick Rose isn't going to impact your ability to tank. If anything, it gives fans, to Tommy's point, a reason to buy tickets.
Yeah.
So you would still be
put me in the
making
UC.
money. Yeah, you would still be making money.
Yeah, and then we get the break speed off us, and nobody would care because Derrick Rose is home for a year. Do it for a year.
I mean, you're not going anywhere. There's nothing at stake. If you need to sell some tickets,
there's no reason not to. So maybe by the time we record next week, Derrick Rose a bowl.
I need it.
Who says no?
We might do it. Emergency pod if he's back.
Okay. I'll you know what? I'm in. Emergency pod if Derrick Rose is back. We'll go live on our YouTube and we'll talk about Derrick Rose being back. Okay. I'm gonna hand the Blackhawks.
Blackhawks. That should be their new name.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks.
I'm gonna hand that over to you, Alex, because there was a line in practice today that had me in my feels. Did you see
line?
Yeah, did you see the top line?
I did, yeah. So it was Teravainen, Bertuzzi, and Bedard.
I got it. It gives me the tingles.
Well, I'll tell you,
I'm getting a little excited.
A lot better than last year, that's for sure, when you basically had an AHL team around him. So, hey, listen, I'm not saying this is going to be a 500 team. I'm not saying
we're going
to be a contender, but it's going to be more watchable. You're going to score more goals. Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be the pressure to be good, but you're going to start at least looking more like an NHL team.
Yeah, bet the over every single game.
Last year, you did not.
Yeah, over 6.5 every single game for the Blackhawks. Catch me on that train.
I'm trying to make some money.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have much to talk about because we still haven't seen him play or anything, but it just kind of gave me the tingles seeing that line out there. I was very excited about it.
Yeah.
Which brings us to wrestling.
Oh man, Alex, you missed. Absolutely.
I'll let you guys talk about that.
No, you are in this.
I missed no idea what you're talking about. That
Absolute Cinema last Friday, because you know what they did? They went to Georgia Tech Stadium, where our tribal chief played college football at, and the hometown of Cody Rhodes, by the way. Because, by the way, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, unlikely allies as they look to take down the bloodline. But it's like an 8-minute segment, and you talk about cinema, and then Roman ending with "You're in my way," and then as he walks, of my life, I'm like, oh, our tribal chief is back. I was a little bit worried, as much as I love Roman Reigns' character. I was a little bit worried when he was coming back, like, oh, they're gonna make him like a watered down baby face, and it's not gonna be like our tribal chief. But since we've last talked wrestling on this pod, he's had 2 promos where he's talked, and no, it's still our same tribal chief, and it's great. And to cap things off yesterday, main event Jey Uso is now a champion.
Yeah, very excited for him. I saw the interaction with him and Triple H after. That was fun to watch. CM Punk was on 670 score today. I listened to 670 score a little bit because today was insufferable. But I did listen to the CM Punk thing. He was incredible. He got dumped right at the top. Yeah, because he called McIntyre a piece of shit. And they had to dump him on the radio.
Right.
And then he was talking about how miserable it is being a Chicago sports fan. And then he said that the Bears are going to be nothing until the McCaskies die. Yeah. I mean, it was just talk about cinema. That was awesome. And and I don't know if you could see it on the YouTube stream, but he wasn't like looking at the camera at all. He looked so bored, and it was incredible. And I was here for it. I loved it.
It was like it was peak CM Punk, and it was great because
he said the White Sox should be demoted, which is true.
Well, yeah. Isn't that how the European leagues for soccer work?
That's
exactly what he said.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, Alex, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, the feud ends, Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood.
You know when is that? Wait, that's Saturday, right? Not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
I hope not, because I got Georgia, Alabama this Saturday. I
have a wedding to go to.
I got our block party.
Oh yeah. So, funny story about Georgia, Alabama. Kendra tried scheduling like maternity shoots for this weekend. I was like, absolutely not. Yeah,
false.
Absolutely not.
You better find a new dad.
Speaking of new dads, we're getting some toys in from like our baby registry, and let me tell you, I'm probably going to play with these toys so much before the kid even comes that all of them are going to need new batteries.
I'm in.
Yeah, so
that's incredible. All right, well, maybe I'll come over.
Hey, the Cubs just won, in case you care.
All right, Cubs win. Cubs win on Tuesday. And the Sox are tied at 0, but anything could happen. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We have been going for about an hour now. So if you have stuck around for the entire podcast, we certainly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You can find us here weekly, wherever you do your podcast listening. You can watch us on YouTube. I recommend it because Alex made some faces tonight.
You need to see that.
I need to see myself do it. I couldn't see me actually.
It was great.
Yeah. And we are returning, taking turns naming the podcast because we are going to be releasing a podcast. So, without further ado, Jordan, name me a podcast because we talked about everything, so there's options galore. We've had some times. Everybody winged, everybody chunged. What is the name of the podcast?
Let's go. We were stupid for not being stupid.
We were stupid for not being stupid. If that isn't Chicago sports, I don't know what.
Seriously.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will do it again next week.